Eden. We start with the most famous coordinate in history, Eden. Most people view Eden as purely symbolic, the birthplace of humanity. But the book of Genesis actually gives us directions. It states that a river went out of Eden and parted into 4 heads, the Pishon, the Gihon, the Tigris, and the Euphrates. We know exactly where the Tigris and Euphrates are in modern-day Iraq, but the other 2 are mysteries. This has led to scholars to speculate that Eden wasn't a magical dimension, but a specific fertile region in the Persian Gulf that existed before sea levels rose at the end of the last ice age. Eden might be a cultural memory of a sunken wetland, a paradise lost to the water, not just to sin. Asgard. If Eden is a garden, our next location is a fortress, Asgard. In Norse mythology, the universe is held together by Yggdrasil, the world tree. Humans live in Midgard, Earth, but the Aesir gods live high above in Asgard. This isn't a cloud city, it's a military complex. It contains Valhalla, where warriors train for the end of the world. What's fascinating is the engineering. Asgard is connected to Earth by the Bifrost, a rainbow bridge. While it sounds like magic, linguists argue the word Bifrost implies a shimmering, shaking path, possibly inspired by the aurora borealis or the Milky Way galaxy stretching across the night sky. Atlantis. From the sky we drop into the ocean. Atlantis. You know the story, but you probably don't know the source. This wasn't a myth passed down by tribes. It was a philosophical thought experiment written by Plato in 360 BC. He described a technologically advanced naval empire that became greedy. As punishment, the universe deleted it. In a single day and night of misfortune, it sank. While pseudoscientists look for Atlantis in Antarctica, the real inspiration was likely the Minoan eruption of Thera, a real advanced civilization destroyed by a volcano. Plato didn't invent the disaster. He just used it to teach us a lesson about hubris. Dilmun. Now let's look at a myth that turned out to be real. Dilmun. In ancient Sumerian texts, Dilmun is described as a place where the sun rises and a land of the living where sickness and death do not exist. It sounds like a fairy tale, but archaeologists eventually found it. Dilmun was a real, massive trade civilization located in modern-day Bahrain. It controlled the copper trade in the Persian Gulf. It was so wealthy and lush compared to the dry desert that the Sumerians mythologized it into a paradise. This is one of the few places on this list you can actually book a flight to visit today. Jotunheim. We finished the first row by returning to the Norse world tree, but we are leaving the order of Asgard for the chaos of Jotunheim. This is the land of the Jotnar, the giants. In the Norse mind, geography was psychological. Asgard represented law and civilization. Jotunheim represented the wild, uncontrollable forces of nature, storms, avalanches, and deep forests. It was separated from the world of men by the Iving River, which never freezes over. It is a reminder that outside the safety of our cities, nature is still trying to kill us. Lemuria. Road 2 begins with a mistake of science that became a legend of the occult, Lemuria. In the 1860s, zoologists were confused. They found lemur fossils in Madagascar and India, but not in Africa. How did they cross the ocean? Before we knew about tectonic plates, scientists hypothesized a lost land bridge continent. They called it Lemuria. Science eventually debunked it, but the idea was hijacked by occultists. They claimed Lemuria was inhabited by a race of four-armed, egg-laying psychic giants. It is a perfect example of how an outdated scientific theory can mutate into a modern cult belief. Kur. While Lemuria is lost, our next location is inescapable. Kur. This is the ancient Sumerian underworld, arguably the first hell ever described in writing. But unlike the Christian hell, Kur wasn't about fire and punishment. It was about dust. It was a gloomy, gray cavern located deep beneath the Zagros Mountains. There the dead, kings and beggars alike, ate dust and drank muddy water. It reflects the pessimistic worldview of early Mesopotamia, where life was hard and the afterlife offered no relief. Hyperborea. Let's escape the darkness and go north, to Hyperborea. To the ancient Greeks, the north was cold and deadly, but they believed that if you went far enough, beyond the north wind, you would find a tropical paradise. Hyperborea was a land of eternal spring, where the sun shone 24 hours a day. It was said to be the winter vacation home of the god Apollo. This myth likely stems from travelers seeing the midnight sun in the Arctic Circle and exaggerating the story. They were right about the 24-hour sun. They were just wrong about the tropical weather. Muspelheim and Niflheim. Next we have the twin primordial realms of Norse creation. Muspelheim, a world of raging fire and lava. Niflheim, a world of freezing mist and ice. Between them was the void. The myth says that when the heat of Muspelheim met the ice of Niflheim, it created steam. That steam turned into the first living being. It's a surprisingly scientific metaphor. Life on Earth requires a delicate balance between freezing and burning. We exist in the Goldilocks zone, between fire and ice. Meru and Swarga. To finish the second row, we travel east to the concept of the Axis Mundi, the center of the world, Mount Meru and Swarga. In Hindu, Jain, and Buddhist cosmology, Mount Meru is a golden mountain standing 100,000 kilometers high in the center of the universe. Physical matter revolves around it. At the very peak lies Swarga, the heavenly realm of the gods, ruled by Indra. Unlike the Greek Olympus, which is a real mountain you can climb, Meru is a metaphysical structure. It represents the spine of reality. You cannot hike there. You can only ascend there through karma. Shambhala. Row 3 brings us to the most enduring mystery of the Himalayas, Shambhala. Often confused with the fictional Shangri-La, Shambhala is a genuine belief in Tibetan Buddhism. It is described as a hidden kingdom where the inhabitants live in peace and possess advanced spiritual technology. The prophecy states that when the outside world is consumed by war and materialism, the king of Shambhala will reveal the city to save humanity. It's the ultimate panic room for the human spirit. Agartha. If you take the idea of Shambhala and strip away the religion, you get Agartha. This is the central city of the hollow earth theory. In the 19th century, certain occultists claimed that Shambhala wasn't in the mountains, but under them. They believed the earth is a hollow shell with its own sun at the core. Agartha is said to be the capital city of this inner world, accessible through tunnels in Tibet and Brazil. While seismology proves the earth is solid, Agartha remains a favorite of conspiracy theorists. Tir na Nog. We move now to Celtic mythology and the land of the young. Tir na Nog is located off the west coast of Ireland. This is a supernatural realm where illness and death do not exist. But there is a catch. Time works differently here. The legend of Uasin tells of a hero who went to Tir na Nog for what felt like 3 years. When he returned to Ireland, 300 years had passed. He fell from his horse, touched the soil of the real world, and instantly aged 300 centuries, turning into dust. It's a tragic reminder that you cannot cheat time without consequences. Avalon. Speaking of islands and heroes, we have Avalon. This is the final resting place of King Arthur. The name comes from the Welsh Avablon, meaning the Isle of Apples. In the Arthurian cycle, after Arthur is mortally wounded in battle, he is taken to this myth-shrouded island to be healed by enchantresses. The legend says he didn't die. He is simply sleeping in Avalon,